Just as we have the power to harm the ocean, we have the power to put in place policies and modify behavior in ways that would be an insurance policy for the future of the sea, for the creatures there, and for us, protecting special critical areas in the ocean, was once said by the renowned marine biologist Sylvia Earle. Because of the vast size of the ocean, it can be easy to assume that no matter how much pollution we dump into it, there will be no effect. This cannot possibly be further from the truth. The act of introducing harmful contaminants into an ecosystem where they do not belong, whether it was accidental or on purpose, can have a profound negative impact. The oceans and everything in them are what connect us all, and we have an obligation to protect them as they give so much to us. In short, preserving the oceans means preserving our futures. While it is true that there are some forms of pollution that occur naturally, the vast majority of it is caused by humans. The oceans have been a target for pollution since the beginning of time, but in the last 300 years or so, specifically in the last century, there has been a spike in the degradation of marine ecosystems. As many nations have grown industrially, the number and amount of pollutants that affect the oceans has grown as well. As of now, the most common types of man-made pollutants include pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, oil, and solid wastes, such as plastics. These all end up in our oceans by our doing. As stated by Greenpeace.org, land-based sources account for 44% of all pollutants in the oceans. 33% can be attributed to toxins in the atmosphere that we most likely put there in the first place, and only 12% comes from the activities at sea. We all are obviously living on land, therefore making us responsible for not only the pollution that comes from it, but also the need for a change. For as many different sources of pollution there are, the disastrous effects that they have are even more numerous. These impacts, among other things, the health of the organisms in the oceans as well as the water quality itself. According to UNESCO, plastic debris kills 100,000 marine mammals and 2 million seabirds annually. Pollution also has the power to destroy our chances to find the cures for AIDS and cancer, as there is much research being conducted on marine organisms that could eliminate these diseases. As pollution causes a loss of diversity, it is possible that our chances for a healthier future could be diminished as well. Not only this, but pollution severely harms the individual ecosystems as well as the water quality of the oceans. As excessive nutrients from runoff enter the ocean, it creates an area that has low oxygen levels, otherwise known as a dead zone. Not only is it impossible for animals to live in these areas due to the said lack of oxygen, but these dead zones also have the ability to cause a collapse of the ecosystem near the area where they form. Because pollution is able to destroy so much of the big blue heart of the earth, we have a duty to regulate and protect it. Preserving the oceans means protecting our future. At a young age, we were all taught to never take more than you can give. If human interaction were to become a hindrance to the natural ongoings of the marine ecosystems, how can we possibly expect the quality of our oceans to remain stable? The truth of the matter is that our ocean's importance goes far deeper than what we realize. We as a human race all rely on and utilize the oceans to benefit our lives. In order to fully understand this, we must also understand that the ocean is the driving factor behind many of the natural cycles on Earth. By these, I mean climate change, the water cycle, and the carbon cycle. All of these cycles, in one way or another, have the ability to lessen the greenhouse effect. The ocean is also able to drive the weather patterns, adjust the climate, and produce at least half of the oxygen that we breathe. Along with this, the ocean also provides the human race with many economic goods and services. According to the University of Southern Florida, approximately 1/6 of jobs in the United States alone are given by marine-related services, and the services associated with the ocean generate about $54 billion per year. We are also able to substantially support our economies through our exports and imports, as the main way for the transportation of these goods is through shipping. The oceans are able to indirectly provide us protection, as the different nations' armies and navies can patrol them. And of course, no one can forget how we all love the beach. In the U.S. alone, recreation and tourism activities that are marine-related compose the fastest-growing sector of our economy, as well as the second largest contributor to our GDP. Because we are able to receive all of this and so much more from our oceans, we have a moral obligation to preserve and support the marine ecosystems that support us. The marine ecosystems of our world not only provide us with invaluable resources, but the oceans themselves are the most valuable resources we have. As there are many forms of pollution, many of them man-made, threatening the well-being of the heart of the earth, it is our moral obligation to further regulate the pollution levels that enter the ocean. To do so means the preservation of our futures and a large part of the earth that gives too much to be neglected.